Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to show you how to do a full page Cricut hack. So when I first got my Cricut, I was using the print and cut feature, thinking that was my only option, but I quickly realized I was wasting a lot of sticker paper as it left a lot of white borders around my stickers. After doing some research, I found that there is a full page Cricut hack, and I've been using that ever since to make my stickers, and it has saved a lot of sticker paper because I'm able to fit more stickers on a sheet and I waste less paper, which of course is always good. So over the last couple studio vlogs that I have made showing my stickers, I get some questions about how I do this. So I wanted to make this video, but I knew I couldn't put everything into one video because it would be very long, so I'm breaking this up into 2 or 3 parts. So this first part is just going to be how to set up your Cricut mat for the full page Cricut hack. Once part 2 is complete, I will link it above in one of these corners. I never remember which one. I will also link it in the description below if you want to head over to that when you are finished with this video. So this is a very quick and easy tutorial for you to follow if you are interested in learning how to utilize a full page. So let's get started. So before we get started, you're gonna need your Cricut mat. This is my well-loved and used Cricut mat. I'm going to recommend using this blue painter's tape in this thickness if you can. I originally used this masking tape and it stuck to my mat and was very hard to remove whenever I had to redo this. So I don't really recommend using this masking tape. This one worked a lot better and didn't rip as much when peeling it off the mat if I ever have to redo this process. I also recommend having 2 Cricut mats just because you don't want to peel off this square once you have it cut every time you have to do a calibration, which I don't know about you, but I have to do calibrations quite often because the Cricut is very finicky. So I like having the separate mats. So this one I can leave my tape on this one and swap it out if I ever have to do a calibration. And it saves me a whole lot of time. It's not necessary, but just a little tip that I recommend. So I'm going to peel off my cover and I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to start at the top line here. You don't want to go all the way up because the Cricut needs to grab the mat to roll it in, and if it can't grip it, it might have issues pulling in the mat or your cuts may be off. So I start just a little over the white line and I line it up with this line, the white line going down, and I try to get it as straight as possible. It doesn't always work, but you still want to be able to see it and see the numbers. So I think that's pretty good. So because it's going to be cutting an 8.5 by 11 square so you can see where your page is, you want to make sure to have your tape overlap the 11 a little bit so that way you can see where the mark is. So I'm going to do the same thing where I line it up along this bottom line here. And we don't have to go all the way across, but we're going to have to go past. I would go to at least the 10 mark because it does come over quite far. But we're going to line it up again. I know I'm safe at that distance. Now I've done this so many times on this specific mat that I know where the Cricut is going to cut it, so I know my tape needs to overlap that part. That's how I'm able to see where I need to put my tape. So it should cut about the same for you, but it may be a little different. So that's why you want to be over past the 10 just to be safe, depending on how your Cricut cuts. Try not to have any air bubbles as you do this. Make sure everything's nice and flat. I know mine's going to come somewhat cut almost to the 9. So you want to make sure you're over that 8.5 with some overlap. So I recommend starting at the 8 and covering at least to the 10 until you know where your cut will be. Okay, so now we're ready to hop on over to the computer and get the layout set up before we make our cut. Okay, so now you need to open your Cricut Design Space software and sign in, and over on the left hand side I'm going to choose shapes and I'm going to do a square. So you're going to go up to the size area and you want to change this so it's the size of your width of paper, which is the standard 8.5 by 11. You're going to need to click this little lock and unlock it in order to do those, and then we can lock it back up. And so you can see that it's not near the edges, and that's because over here in the position area we have to fix this. We have to change it both X and Y to zeros so that aligns it perfectly up against the edge, which is what we want. And this will cut out the square area for us to lay our sticker sheets when we go to cut. So we're going to go over to make it. This is just showing you where it's going to sit on the mat, and as you can see it comes over to about 8.75 and then down to 11.25. I don't know why it does this. But it does leave this little gap here along the edge, and so that's why I recommended using a thicker tape so that way it can accommodate for these spaces. Okay, now that my Cricut is connected, I have my base material set to light cardstock. That is what I use to cut my die cut stickers, so I know it goes all the way through, and I want to make sure that it goes all the way through the tape even if it overlaps. So once the material is set, we can go ahead and load our mat. And then we can go ahead and start the cut. Once that's done, we can unload the mat, push this back because we don't need to make any more cuts. So now you have your square outline that has been cut into the tape. And now what we're going to do is pull up the inside of the square. You want to leave the outside so you know where to place your sticker sheet. So I like to peel up a corner. And usually it goes pretty well. Like I said, I've had the best luck with this blue painter's tape. And you want nice, crisp edges. So that's why I mentioned about not having any bubbles in the tape and making sure it's laid flat, because this is going to be your guide. So there, you are now complete and ready to move on to making your stickers, which I will explain in part 2. So now you have completed getting your mat ready to do the full page Cricut hack. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions about this process, please let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. If you are ready to move on to the next step, please check out part 2 on how I make my stickers. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!